working now? Okay. Sorry, technology is giving me a hard time this morning. Let me light some sage here. And switch my mic over. There we go. Hopefully that's better. Good morning. Apologies for the holdup. Technology was being strange this morning. I was logged out of everything. And I have so many passwords, I didn't know which ones were the right place. And so it took me 15 minutes to get logged in. Sorry, guys. Hello. Nice to see you all. Good morning. And good afternoon and good evening to some of you. I'm just lighting my sage. Hello, hello. How is everyone? 3 weeks went quick, hey? It really did. I think I'm gonna have to get my blowtorch for this. There we go. That's better at least. Nice to see you all. I've missed you guys. How is everyone? It's been a while since I've burned sage. I should have done some yesterday. I had quite a long trip. It took me about 40 hours to get back from South Africa. And I was not prepared for what I experienced when I got back. It is quite a shock to go from 90-degree temperatures to like negative temperatures. It was 5 degrees this morning, which was quite a little shock. I don't know if you guys could tell. Look, you see I got a shiner? Do you see? Look, you can't really see it. I tried to cover it up this morning. If you look too closely, though, you can see it. Within 10 minutes of being back, I slipped on ice and face planted myself right into my car door frame as I was trying to clean the ice off of my car. I had ice this thick on my whole car. And when I finally got out of the airport and dragged all my stuff, my car was basically like encapsulated in ice. And it took me like 20 minutes to clean off my car. And as I'm cleaning it off, I slipped on the ice that was around my car. And if you don't know, like I said, can you see it? I have like a double egger goose egg on my forehead. You guys can probably see it in the right lighting. That was within 10 minutes of being back, really. So I'm like, thank God it wasn't a few inches lower. Yeah, I'm sure you guys can see it. I can feel it. It does. It hurts like hell. And I was like, to be back in winter, this is great. So I hope you guys are surviving okay. If only 15 minutes of winter did this to me, I can only imagine what hardships you guys have dealt with for 3 weeks. So it could always be worse. It could be purple. Like the whole thing, my whole forehead could be purple today. So Sheree says you could be a unicorn now. I kind of feel like one. I feel like a cone head that's been, like, oh well. But Aiden, yes, Aiden had a great time visiting his dad and his sister and his Oma and Opa, and he had a great birthday. And Shawnee says you get an ice assault as soon as you get home. Isn't that ironic? It is. It is indeed ironic. It's a different kind of ice assault than what I've been hearing about. Every time I introduced myself to somebody in South Africa and they asked, where are you from? And I said, America. And they're like, I'm sorry. That was the general consensus for everybody that I told I was American to. So our reputation worldwide is not at its highest point. I can tell you that right now. Everybody that we talked to was like, oh, you have to go back to that? Americans don't exactly have the best reputation on the other side of the planet right now, especially because of what they see, in the news and all of that chaos. So, but anyway, how have you guys been faring? It has been an insane couple of weeks. There's so much to discuss that I don't even know where to begin. So I suppose, if you guys want to talk about anything in particular, there's 8 people watching right now. Hi, Siddhartha. Love you. Wherever Siddhartha may be, I have to catch up with Angelica because I got a whole bunch of messages that came through all at once this morning. Apparently, none of my iMessages were coming through properly. So I have a lot of people to catch up with. And my apologies to those of you who have waited 3 weeks for a response from me. But I literally did as much of a digital detox as I could. Some of it was not by choice because South Africa doesn't exactly have a very reliable internet. And a couple of places I did a check to see how fast the internet was, and it was 1 megabyte download. I was like, all right, this is unusable anyway, so I may as well just unplug for 3 weeks. And I first would like to say thank you so much to all of my friends and wonderful colleagues that helped me to hold down the fort, so to speak. We did a lot of training before I left, and a lot of people stepped up to help me keep up with my caseload. In fact, I have not even done clearings in 3 weeks. That was quite a shock to me because, to be honest, I planned on doing clearings while I was away, and the internet wouldn't even be strong enough for me to load Zoom. So it was honestly almost it was like impossible to do clearings while I was gone. And so I just unplugged and stepped away from everything. And it's weird, right? Because I lived in South Africa for many years, and to step back into that sense of familiarity, it was almost like visiting an older version of myself. Especially because I wasn't doing the same work. And so it was very strange, I must admit, especially to end a 9-year in that way. We're almost there. It's not technically the year of the fire horse yet. We're still waiting until the 17th of February, I believe. So it's interesting to go back and kind of refresh and to go back and re-experience being the old version of myself. This old version was from 7 years ago when I lived in the Kruger and how I was doing anti-poaching and all. Well, I wouldn't say anti-poaching, just being a part of a community that is very eco-conscious and very much centered around animals. So that is what I missed the most, and that is why I went to the Kruger first. And that was quite an experience going to the Kruger right after major floods. It was quite sad to see some of it because the bridges had washed out and roads were destroyed. But the animals were very smart. They know when crazy weather is about to happen. They can feel it. They can sense it. So most of them went to higher ground, which was very good. But many humans that live around the rivers, there's a place called Palaborwa, for example, where over 100 people washed away in the flooding. So it was very sad to see how much damage and how much suffering occurred during that time. But Mother Nature is on a mission right now. If you guys can tell, like there are shifts and changes that are happening all over the world right now, not just with the weather, but with many different forms of climate, if you know what I mean, especially in regards to politics and all of the chaos that's been happening. So it almost feels like there's a cleansing going on. Are you guys feeling that too? There's like this huge cleansing in regards to just purging things from the past, or at least bringing things to the surface. So it's just been very interesting to see everything unfold over the last few weeks and to get other perspectives, especially from being abroad and seeing how things are overseas. Because Americans, no offense to you guys, and I hope many of you understand this, we have a very sheltered reality here. We have a very sheltered perspective on how we appear to other countries, how we conduct ourselves. To get another glimpse of this, and I mean, South Africa it's a very interesting and unique place. And it's very nice to get other perspectives whenever I go there. So I was thinking about maybe showing you guys a couple pictures, but I don't know. Is it going to be weird for me to like show you photos? I don't know if this is something that you guys are interested in. But I did get a couple photos moved to a file today if you guys would like to see a couple, and then we can talk about whatever you guys want. I just wanted to show you a little bit of what I got to experience, which was really, really cool. So let me see if this will work. Allow. I'm still kind of getting used to using these things. There we go. All right, let me see if this will work. I don't have a whole lot to show you guys because I didn't move a whole lot of my pictures. I took so many photos and stuff. There we go. Let me see if this works. Okay. I don't know if you guys are seeing that properly. Is it showing it? No, of course it's not, because it's going to be weird. Hang on. Stop sharing. Hold on. Let me try and figure out how to do this properly. Here we go. Haha. Is it working? Let me see. Yes! It worked! Yay! Okay, but now how do I change it? This is the first thing I saw when I got to the Kruger, and it made me so happy. Let me just try and figure out how to show you different things, though. Okay. Is it changing it now? No, it's not. Come on. Why? It won't let me change the image now. See, this is technology. I should have practiced this before. Hang on a second. Anyway, if I can't get it to work properly, then I'll just show you guys when I can figure out how to do it. Maybe I'll do it Friday instead, because it's being difficult. Present. Good grief. Yeah, it's not letting me change the file here. It's only letting me show one file at a time. Anyway, there was a video I really wanted to show you. This was really, really cool, because it was one of the coolest things I experienced while I was there. Image file. Oh, it won't let me share a video. Video file. Now it's going to let me do it. If you guys are on my friends list, you probably already saw some of these. Is it this one? Can you guys hear it? Let me know if you can hear it.
Talking back to Moses.
Louder, boys! How much champagne? That's great! More! How much
That was beautiful.
Another way of saying thank you for coming, guys. You can put your camera close to the fence. It's off, unless if somebody put it on by mistake. When I see you dancing, then I know it's working.
how beautiful they are.
Their name is Mellow and Champagne.
Beautiful.
But I always call them Quakey and Sleepy.
That's Moses.
So it's true they come from that side of Ulukwana. They were potentially bred to enter the Kent hunting industry. Have you guys ever heard about the Kent hunting industry?
So I may as well tell you guys a little bit about what Moses was talking about. Moses is my favorite tour guide ever. In fact, I was so thrilled to see him when I went to, this is a place in just outside the Kruger. It's in a place called Hootspray. It's called Mahalo Hollow. And it is one of my favorite animal rehabilitation centers in the world. If I was in my 20s, I would have gone back there to work again because I absolutely loved everybody there. There's a gentleman named Brian who founded the center. And he, I did a clearing on Brian, actually. I'll tell you guys about it. I'm just blown away by how much he's achieved in his life. He's retired now. He retired a couple of years ago. And Brian has been saving thousands of animals from all over South Africa and even some of the other countries around the border where they bring animals in. A lot of them have been rescued from canned hunting. So for those of you who don't know what canned hunting is when they take cubs away from their mothers. These cubs are bottle raised, they're hand raised. And then they sell hangouts with these cubs. They charge people a great deal of money to come in and feed the cubs, and they'll say, oh, they're orphans, or they'll make up some nonsense about where the cubs came from, and then they'll say, oh, you can bottle feed them, and you can take pictures with them and pet them, and this and that. And for most people in the tourism industry, they aren't aware about what happens to those cubs afterward. And what happens is when they are too big or they start getting too feisty, because they're lions, of course they're going to get spicy when they get older. And that's what happens. They end up taking them again away from everything they know, and they will put them in a canned hunting situation where they are able to it's like fish in a barrel form of hunting. And then they shoot them. So these are very considerably tame animals. And since they were bottle raised, they aren't allowed to be released. They have no idea how to fend for themselves, and they would basically just be killed off in the bush. So they cannot be released. So what do? They sell hunting tags. And anyway, it has been outlawed in many countries now, but unfortunately the damage has been done, and there's quite a lot of animals that are still trying to find their place in the world, and that's where Champagne and his brother were. They spend the rest of their lives in captivity, but they do kind of, in a way, seem to love their experience. They love the people that they get to know. They're very much attached to the humans that they have grown up with. So it's actually kind of cruel in a way to release them to the wild, because many of them wouldn't know how to defend themselves or protect themselves. Lions are extremely territorial. And if you have a whole tribe of, a whole pride of lions that are, territorial, it's easy for two males like that to be killed off if they are released. So this is their life, where they spend all day long hanging out with humans, and they're very sweet and they're very affectionate in many regards, but they're not allowed to interact with humans anymore, and it's kind of sad. But to see Moses have such a beautiful relationship with them, to the point where all they have to do is hear his name, like they hear him calling them, and that is their response. So anyway, it was one of my favorite moments on my trip, and I just wanted to mention and to show you guys how beautiful they are, and to raise a little bit of awareness about this, because it's still happening. People still do it all the time. Canned hunting may be illegal, but hunting itself is not, and there's a lot of gray areas. There's a lot of things that happen kind of without people knowing about it. And especially with South Africa, for example, I was chatting with a friend who helped us kind of have a very special experience. They brought us into a private reserve where someone had 5 rhinos. And I'm not going to share any pictures of that. I wish I could because I didn't take any. I was so worried about somebody getting a hold of my photos and being able to geocache them that I didn't bother taking any photos of it. But it was the first time. And I spent 7 years in South Africa working around animals and especially around rhinos and stuff and spending a lot of time in the Kruger. I've never seen a rhino with their horn. This trip was the very first time that I've seen rhinos with a horn. They're usually removed. They dart them and then they chop off as much as they possibly can. It's like a fingernail, you know, they cut their fingernails in order to protect them. Did you know? And the guy told me, the friend that brought me to this location where they had 5 rhinos with the horns, they said that one horn from those rhinos could buy you 5 or 6 rhinos. Just to put it into perspective, the value of it. And when I asked, they said, you know, have you had any issues, especially being in the garden route? They're so far away from the Kruger. I said, well, you guys don't have to worry about poaching as much. And the guy looked at me and he goes, actually, we have to worry about it more. And I said, how so? And they said, there's less rhinos here. And so they actively go out looking for them. And in fact, the government has to know where all rhinos are at all times. Many of them have communication devices on them, and they take them all over trying to protect them. They move them from location to location. But the saddest thing about it is that the government, because they demand to know where they are being moved from location to location, it makes it very easy for corrupt people in the government to tell poachers where they are. And so the government is, I don't want to get myself in trouble with this, but the government probably has a lot of people working their way in on the inside, and they're able to kind of do really corrupt, dirty shit, especially for money. When you can get a rhino, when you can get upwards of $60,000 to $100,000 for a rhino horn, if not sometimes more, depending on the quality of it. And people wonder, why do they do that? Why would they want rhino horn? Well, they're collecting it because of Chinese medicine and because of it shows status in certain societies. So it is a status symbol for a lot of people to show, well, look how much money I can afford to buy stupid shit I don't need. And then there's also belief that, you know, what's crazy? They actually snort and they'll eat rhino horn because they believe it's not only an aphrodisiac, but it works like Viagra. They believe that it makes you, because of the horn, you know what I mean? They believe that it actually gives you more virility, more stamina. But this is just the tip of the iceberg in regards to poaching. I mean, they believe that eating a vulture's eyeball will help them see the future. There's a lot of crazy shit that people believe, and animals suffer for it. So I'm trying to keep things positive today, but I just wanted to share a couple things that I'm very passionate about. Rhinos are my favorite animal in the whole world. In fact, I'm kind of obsessed. I love them so much. Just seeing a rhino will bring me to tears. I just adore them. And so, yeah, it is one of those things where I feel like we should be doing more, especially in regards to the animals that are going extinct. There's a lot of them that are going extinct, especially in places that they're not well protected. And so it's just something I wanted to raise awareness of, and I do plan on doing more. I might even invite my friend who brought me to these rhinos to come on the podcast and talk about it. So if you guys are up for that, I think it's very important for us to discuss conservation and protecting the environment and protecting ecosystem balances that are all over the world, because this whole planet is basically dealing with imbalances, right? So for us to become aware of these things, it allows us to do more and to help more. So maybe if we could do something together, you never know what we can achieve until we try, right? And there's so many different ones. There's so many different animals. I asked Aiden what he wants to do when he grows up. He wants to save penguins. Many of you who have met Aiden will understand he is obsessed with penguins. Even, I mean, he makes he makes obsession look mild compared to his love for penguins. He's wearing penguin everything all the time. So it's funny to see how people are, you know, drawn to specific animals and inclined to help in whatever way that is possible. So we were discussing what Aiden wants to do when he gets older, and that's his only focus right now. Is he wants to save penguins. But he told me as soon as he came home, it was really funny. He goes, "Mom, I'm going to save African penguins. I don't think I'm cut out for this kind of cold in Antarctica." I was like, yeah, I agree. I don't know if I can handle Antarctica, but I do wonder if it might be warmer in Antarctica than it is here right now. Jessica says, what's his favorite kind of penguin? South African penguins. Yep. In fact, I think next time I go visit South Africa, I'm going to take him to Cape Town to go to Boulders to see the penguins that are there. The African penguins there are adorable. You have to bring them a fish. If you bring them a fish, they will let you pet them. If you don't, they will bite you. Speaking from experience. But it was Aiden basically did have a bit of a wild thornberries kind of experience while we were away, which was great. But it changes your whole perspective. I brought a friend of mine from New Jersey with me. She had never been to South Africa. In fact, she hasn't really left the States much. So I told her she could come with me, my friend Biddy. And so I said, well, just come to South Africa and have an experience. And I asked her last night after we got home, I said, so what did you think? Like, did you think it's changed you in any way? And she goes, are you kidding? It changed my entire perspective of reality. And I said, which part? And she goes, well, seeing the animals, but also seeing how people live. In fact, seeing the townships, seeing how people live in these shanty homes where 200 people have to share the same public toilet, where you are dealing with 95-degree temperatures. It's extremely hot and you don't even have running water. It just goes to show how blessed some of us are, but how much we're letting people down. How much, those of us, because you can drive maybe 2 blocks away from a township and see beautiful, big, stunning houses that are worth millions of dollars. Especially in areas like Plettenberg Bay, the wealth, where you driving literally through squalor and then boom, mansions. So it does. It changes your perspective when you travel and you get to see how blessed we are, but it also makes you realize that we could be doing more. We could be sharing more of our blessings. And I know there's a lot of people who are against that because they're like, oh my God, socialism. But I really do feel like we let people down when we have extreme excess. And then you have other people who don't even have access to a toilet, So it's just, and this happens a lot. We're not just seeing it in Africa. We see it all over the world in different areas, in certain pockets of poverty. And I really feel that one of the best ways to curtail ignorance is to travel, is to go out and see how other people live and to experience. And that's why I take Aiden to all these different places, to show him that the world is very different depending on your postcode. And if you don't see that, if you don't have that experience, then it's very easy to judge people and to say horrible things about other cultures and other countries. And to see what I've been seeing, especially in regards to all this ICE bullshit online, how many people are actually pushing back against ICE and its racist policies. It's a wonderful thing to see so many people care. But it's also very unfortunate to see how many, and a lot of them probably are NPCs, because how anybody could be that devoid of conscience at this point, I have no idea. But we have a lot of work to do. We still have a lot of work to do when it comes to waking people up. And I could tell that over the last few weeks, I don't know about you guys, I've been kind of awake and aware, at least about the evilness and corruption and cabal that has kind of taken over this planet, I've been aware since 2007. How many of you guys, like, what year did you guys kind of wake up and smell the bullshit? I'm just curious. So some of us have been waiting over 20 years for change. Some of us have been kind of, it's almost like we've been so desensitized that we are at the point of where we're like, nothing surprises me anymore. Right? Have you guys hit that point yet? Where nothing surprises you, where you're just a bit like, I mean, you could hear anything about Epstein Island and not be surprised one bit, considering we've known about all of this corruption. We've known about this evil for such a long time. And the longer you've known about it, the more that you're a bit like exhausted and burned out and fed up. And in a way, you know, some people are like, well, this isn't going to change anything. So people say, well, you know, what are they going to do? Investigate themselves? Of course not. People are like, well, maybe the FBI is in on it. Maybe they're all in on it. Maybe the whole fucking system is designed this way. There's a couple episodes of Stargate like this. Anybody ever watched that episode of Stargate where they basically, like, they start off, you don't really get much context, but they start off in like a prison. They're in an underground prison. And then you start to realize that in this episode, you know, they're enslaved. They're somewhere underground enslaved. And it doesn't make sense until the end of the episode that everybody underground was doing all the dirty work, all the heavy work of the people who lived above ground. They were saying, oh, the world's been destroyed. You can't come up here. You can't go up there because the sun will cook you as soon as you go out there. And as soon as they found out that it was bullshit and they go outside, they realized they found a paradise. And they found that there was a whole society of people that were exploiting them and keeping them underground as slaves. And they had no idea. Only thing they believed was that the world had been destroyed and there was no ability. There's no fresh air. There was no sunlight, no nothing. So why would we even try to go up there? Until one day they realized they'd rather be dead than deal with the shit that they've been dealing with. Somebody, you know, whoever wrote that episode, they have an understanding, you know, that was a hint as to what our society is like, because some of us do live in darkness. Some of us do slave away all day, every day, our whole lives. And we don't even come up to 1% of what some of these people have working our entire lives. And some people are getting fed up with it. They're tired of how the system is designed to benefit the very few. Probably about the top 1,000 people on this entire planet are using this planet as their vacation home, wherein the rest of us are just subservient to them. And the more you understand how BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street and all these big three corporations, I should say, they control everything. Everything on this planet is controlled. We're talking the military-industrial complex, the school system, the everything, literally everything, the banking, you name it. They control every aspect. I was watching a video this morning about how much they even control the maple syrup industry. Did you know that there's a maple syrup cabal? Where you can't even sell your own maple syrup anymore. You're not allowed to tap your own trees, bottle your own syrup, and sell it. Why? Because there's a mafia that controls maple syrup. What the hell? That's just one object, one item. Bananas. Did you know that there's a banana mafia? Most people don't know there is a banana mafia. There's a chocolate mafia. There's a coffee mafia. There's that avocado cabal. Yes, seriously, these things, every single thing that we possess in our homes that we buy, we're just like, bananas. Okay, you know, just eating bananas. We don't realize that people could have died over those bananas. People die over avocados every day. And we don't know that. They have no idea. There are people who literally avoid avocados because they know they're like blood diamonds. They're bloody avocados. This is our entire system that is built. is nothing but cartels everywhere. Everywhere. There's not one thing I can think of that isn't controlled by some sort of a cartel. And as you look through that, as you start following the money, because you can always follow the money, there's paper trails everywhere. The government makes sure of it because they want their taxes, right? So the paper trails are everywhere. And if you follow those paper trails, you realize the entire system is rigged. People talk about blood diamonds. They have no idea that everything is bloody at this point. Everything. If you're not buying something local from the local farmers around you, you're buying something from a cabal. Courtney says, I just joined and heard Banana Mafia. Well, so it's just my point here is that the entire system was not broken. Everything is run by the cabal. Every single item you buy, everything that you put in your cart at the grocery store has some kind of corruption behind it that we don't even know about because it's not talked about. So I don't know what we're going to do. Honestly, people are like, well, you like to talk about solutions. I love solutions. I would love to talk more about the solutions than the problems themselves. But at this point, my only solution I can think of is to burn the whole fucking thing down and start again. And I probably should not be saying that publicly. But to be serious, that's probably what's going to happen for us to fix anything. You vote for the kind of world you want with every dollar you spend. And until people stop paying their taxes, until people stop contributing to the system, and that's everything. I don't know how else to say, self-sustainability is the most important thing that we could all be focusing on because that's the only thing that takes money out of their hands. Is to support each other, to do free trade, to trade back and forth between items. And unfortunately, unless you're voting for the right things with your money, the system is not going to collapse. It's going to continue. It was designed this way. And they're going to keep shocking the system. They're going to keep scaring people. They're going to start, people don't understand how much just one aspect of all of this could cause chaos. People talk about illegal immigration, right? Everybody's talking about it right now because everybody's all up in arms about this ICE thing, regardless of which side you are on the fence with. There's going to be major consequences for everything that happens. Do you think Americans like to go and pick fruit? Do you think Americans are going to go out and do like a whole day's worth of labor out in the sun picking fruit and vegetables? We have been benefiting from slave labor for a really long time, and we didn't even call it slave labor. You can call it indentured servitude. You can call it whatever you want. But we have been exploiting people for a long time, and now we're treating the people we've been exploiting like shit. And we're scaring them off, and we're doing horrible things to people, to children. And what I see in the comments from people, the lack of empathy, they're not going to understand the consequences until it hits them. And people are pissed. They're already pissed. I went to the grocery store. I bought 4 bags worth of groceries, and I paid over $200 for it yesterday. The only way people will start to change is if when you start dealing with the shit themselves. So anyway, that's my big rant about the chaos that's hitting the fan. And I'm just hoping that all of this Epstein stuff, I'm hoping that all the exposure, all the interest, all of these politicians who haven't sold out start to do something. Maybe they will. Who knows what kind of ripple effects are going to be popping up over the next few weeks, especially because, well, keep in mind, we have another eclipse coming. You guys better buckle up. You remember what the eclipse led to last time? We had 3 or 4 eclipses last year, and every single time we had an eclipse, it led to more chaos. So buckle up. That is the one thing. Remember what Angelica said. Angelica is like, I hide under my bed when there's an eclipse. I think she's just joking, but you literally, you feel like going into hiding with these eclipses, and that is why. Because there's going to be more chaos. There's going to be more snakes shedding their skin, so to speak. And there's going to be more cannibalism from the cabal, because if you had noticed this, right, whenever the cabal gets threatened, there's a whole lot of cannibalism that happens. Whole lot. They start eating each other publicly because they're trying to shift the blame. They're trying to shift focus. So there's going to be a lot more of that too. You guys haven't only seen the very beginning. So there's going to be so much more interesting and exciting things coming. But keep in mind, towards the end of this month, we're also going to be dealing with Mercury. I think Mercury retrograde starts on the 25th of this month. So if you guys have anything that you need to finalize, I would do it very soon. Otherwise, I would wait until after Mercury retrograde, because I have a feeling this one's going to be a doozy. So Magdalena said something bigger is brewing. Epstein is just a distraction. Everything is a distraction right now. If the media is talking about it, then it's a distraction. Although it's funny that the media is trying to tell everybody that Epstein was Russian or that he was working for Russia. I'm like, yeah, we all know who Epstein was working for. You don't have to. The fact that they're trying to claim it was Russia is absolutely hilarious. We all know he was in Mossad, which I probably shouldn't be talking about. I can talk more about this when I join Astara in 5 minutes. So if you guys would like to switch over in 5 minutes and we can talk more about this, it's easier and safer to talk about it in private than it is to talk about it on here, because AI now, everything is being listened to. Everything is recorded and listened to. And every time you drop a keyword, they know about it. But the funny thing is I don't think they can kind of control it as much as they would like to. I forget which Rothschild it was, but Rothschild a couple years ago said we should have given them the internet, but we never should have given them the full breadth of the internet. We never should have given them the internet that they have now. We should have allowed them online shopping and a bit of social media, but what we have, free press online and all these independent websites and this and that, we never ever should have allowed that. And I cackled when I heard that. I was like, you're damn right you shouldn't have. Because now we're all working together and they can try and censor people. They can try, but there's so many people who are ready to be done with the bullshit that it's like an avalanche. Somebody said Epstein is alive. I know. I've known this for years. He died 7 years ago. 7 years ago. And the shit is still going on. You know, he's just chilling in Israel, playing Fortnite, laughing his ass off at all of this right now. He's probably thinking, this is the funniest shit he's ever seen. People scrambling and freaking out, and all these people. I mean, it's all over. Even the CEO of Chuck E. Cheese has resigned over this. The CEO of Chuck E. Cheese resigned over the Epstein files a couple days ago. I wonder why. Yeah. Chuck E. Cheese. Like, really? How many children have disappeared from Chuck E. Cheese's? And all the shit about, honestly, the Biden stuff blew my mind too. I knew it wasn't Biden. I knew it, but I did not see that result coming. Not even a little bit. Did I see? Because if you look, right, old Biden's earlobes and new Biden's earlobes are completely different. Completely different. So some of us have known for years that it wasn't the right person, or that they've been using doubles. I mean, they've been using doubles and lookalikes for 500 years. How many times the Pope had a lookalike? How many times royalty had lookalikes? This is not new trickery. Not new trickery at all. So for you guys to be aware of it, that's the new thing. For you guys to know it's happening. There's going to be a lot more crazy shit happening. We're just getting warmed up. And there's, you know why? So many people were like, why did they drop 3 million files? Because they wanted an avalanche. The sheer enormity, right? It's like asking somebody, hi, can I please have, I don't know, it's like asking for an apple. Hi, can I have an apple? And then they dump an entire like truckload of apples on you. And you're like, I just wanted one. Like, I just wanted This is what they do. They overwhelm you and they think, well, you're not going to look for the rotten apple if there's a million apples, right? Bullshit. We're going to find the rotten apple, even if they have, 10 million apples, we're going to find them. Why? Because internet sleuths, they have nothing better to do. Some of you guys have so much research because they're bored. They're like, well, let me just dig into this. And then they find all kinds of shit that the government didn't even know was out there. And it's going to continue. There's going to be more and more stuff, more shit rising to the surface to be dealt with. So, I mean, it's like they're even saying that Epstein invented Bitcoin. Like, we have so much shit to go through. Where do we even begin? So that's why they could have drip fed us all these things. But keep in mind that government is claiming they have 6 million documents. 6 million. They only dropped half, and half of that half is redacted. Maybe even more like 70% of what they dropped was redacted. So it's going to get really interesting the more things that come out, and especially because the politicians that haven't been bought are going, what the fuck? And so many of them are actually starting to team up together and to realize that the two-party system is designed to be, it's like the same wings on the same, it's like 2 wings on the same bird of prey, as they say. The whole thing is designed to look like it's separate, but it actually, on all the important things like taking away our rights, they always work together. So those of you who are starting to wake up and realize all of this, and to realize that there's basically like 5 companies that control the entire planet, it's going to get really interesting. But hey, the muggles will all be talking about the Super Bowl for the next 2 weeks. So maybe this is why. Maybe they dumped 3 million documents just so they can be like, everybody will be like, I'm sick of hearing about it. So, was there any questions? I was going on a big rant this morning. Is there anything that you guys wanted to discuss? I will be catching up on stuff. I've got a whole lot of new things I'll be implementing. I'll be doing a little bit less clearings, but I am jumping back into clearings soon. I'm just going to be doing it a bit less, considering I'm trying to focus more on my writing. I want to write more classes, and I want to write my books. I have 3 books that I'm currently writing right now. It's like my ADD. I feel like bouncing around between all 3 books. So I'm writing a book about psychic protection and spiritual hygiene. I'm actually putting it into 2 forms. One is a child's book and one is an adult book of that. So technically it's 4 books. I'm also working on a novel. The novel is, it's got all these true information in it, but it's more, I've made up some stories to go with it so I can hide some historical truths in there and some, information on all kinds of things that I'm interested in. Astral projection and healing and past life stuff and all of that is going into the book, but in a more, like I said, it's a novel form. And then I'm also working on the Orion Wars book that I'm writing with Adriana. Adriana and I are writing a book called The True Tales of the Orion Wars, where we are putting all true information that we get from the Akashic Records. So information about what happened to the Orion Wars, and some of you guys and your stories might even be in there too. So it's going to be really fun to put all of that in there. And I realize how important it is because a couple days ago, I shared a post about the Greys. I don't know if you guys saw the clip that my wonderful friend Ella posted for me. It was from one of my solo podcasts where I was ranting about Greys. And when it went up, there was so much misinformation about Greys up there that I was really flabbergasted. I was astonished. A lot of this came from Bashar. Bashar has sold a lot of bullshit about the Greys. For example, telling people that the Greys are us, just a future version of us. That is horseshit, not at all true. That is absolutely a lie. A real galactic would know that. So take what you want from that. None of that is true. No, they are not a future version of us. There are 165 different types, and none of them are a future version of humans. They're all coming from very ancient races that have collaborated with humans for a long time, but no, they're not some kind of evolved form of humans. Like, it's not true at all. We have no genetic resemblance to them whatsoever. So there's a lot of things like that I need to kind of set the record straight, and I'm looking forward to doing that with the books. Charisse says, if they're a future version of us, then why are they trying to destroy people? Bingo, Charisse. Bingo. Exactly. So no, Bashar is not a type of gray. There's so many different types of races out there. There's 400,000 different types of humanoid races. Bipedal, people that walk, upright and talk the way, I should say, many of them are telepathic. Some do verbal speech, but many of them are telepathic. The grays are one of those. In fact, they are a hive mind. What they know, what one knows, they all know. Candace said, I've heard the grays are humans from the future who have fully integrated with tech and lost their humanity. Nope. All that is bullshit. Bashar has been telling people that for years, and that is a lie. That is not true at all. And like I said, a real galactic, or at least one that was being truthful, would know that. So this is why I say, and I haven't trusted anything Bashar said since he was telling everybody to get the you-know-what. Oh, it's perfectly safe. In fact, you should be doing it. Oh, yeah? Well, now I no longer trust you. So Leanne says, I stopped following him when he started telling people they had to follow a certain protocol for first contact. Like I said, there's a lot of charlatans out there that are making an absolute fortune. And I feel like this is the time for gurus to take a step back. Be your own guru. What is the truth on grays then, Laura? It would take me an hour to go into it all, Katie. That's why I'm going to put it in the book. There are 165 different types of gray. 165. The nicest ones are the Zeta Reticulans. The Zeta Reticulans are they're like the farmers. They're custodians, as Dolores would call them. They were the ones that were here kind of taking care of the earth. They've been here just as long as humans have been here, if not longer. They come from all over the cosmos. There's different races that exist all over the place, and some of them are very ancient. Some of them are benevolent. Some of them are kind of indifferent to humans. They don't really care. They don't really care either way. And some of them look at us like an asset that was worth exploiting. Many of them are experimenting on humans and doing all kinds of awful things to them, and they are completely apathetic to it. They don't care. You can beg and cry and plead with them, and there is zero empathy. Same with reptilians. They don't even have the frequency of empathy. They can't even reach that frequency. They don't have that part in their brain, but not even brain, because souls can have empathy. A soul can have empathy. You don't need a physical body to have empathy, right? So where is it? Where does that empathy lie, or lack thereof? Well, programming, like in everything. Reptilians are programmed to lack empathy. They don't even have the ability to experience empathy. That's why so many people are like, well, there's good reptilians out there. I had a couple people argue with me and tell me, well, there's good reptilians out there. Yes, there are. There is a race, and they're not here. They're not here on Earth. The ones that are here on Earth do not have the ability for them to be compassionate. So for those who are saying, well, you can compare, you can convince a reptilian to swap teams, right? There's a lot of people who believe that. They say, oh, well, they can be convinced to be good guys. I'm sure anything is possible. I never say anything is impossible, because the universe always loves to prove me wrong. But think of it as somebody who has been a hardcore carnivore, right? To the point where they get disgusted and want to vomit just looking at anything green. Okay. Somebody who eats meat for every meal all day, every day, who doesn't eat anything other than meat, right? And then you take that person and you tell that person, okay, you're done with meat. You're going to be a raw vegan for the rest of your life. You're never going to touch meat again. In fact, you're not even going to look at meat. You're only going to consume lettuce for the rest of your life, right? Fruits and salad. That is it. That's all you get. How happy do you think that meat eater would be? How likely would it be that you could do that person would change their entire programming, everything that they enjoy, and swapping them over? To me, that's like trying to convince a serial killer who's been killing people their entire lives to stop killing people and to start, I don't know, babysitting. Right? Like, would you trust somebody who was a reform? They claim they're reformed, right? They went to therapy. Would you still trust that serial killer around your children? Of course not. So no, people say, well, reptilians could be convinced, they can be converted. Oh yeah? Sure. Okay. I think they would rather go to source. I think they would, honestly, genuinely. If you were to tell a reptilian, you're gonna completely reform, you're gonna be a love and light Lizzie now, right? I think the Lizzie would kill me. I think they would rather. I think honestly, they would rather die than swap teams. So I mean, anything is possible. I never say never about anything, but the likelihood of that, yeah. Anyway, that's my big rant for this morning. It's good to be back. I've missed you guys. I am going to switch over to a star in a minute so I can have my enjoyable private conversation with some of you. I really do love having that chat with you, and to be able to come on face to face and have you guys join me so I'm not just sitting here looking at myself for an hour as I talk. I love it. I love hanging out with you guys. So it actually brings me great joy for you guys to join me and to come on there and have conversations. And those of you who come on camera, even if you don't come on camera, it's wonderful to have you there. But those of you who do join me on Zoom and we get to hang out, I love it. I love hanging out with you guys and having face-to-face conversations. So I do encourage you guys to join. We did have some issues with Astara while I was away, but Charisse and I will be working on that to fix it today. We did get some of the kinks worked out. We just have to add more space. So this is the link, Astara community. And if you go on there, you'll be able to see there are events. And on the events, you'll find the Zoom link. So if you get signed up, it is under the paid promotions. I think it's like $11 a month. I can't remember how much it is a month to join for the paid one. But like I said, you guys are welcome to join. I love having conversations. If you can't come on camera, that's okay. If you would like to still join us and just listen in, you don't have to participate. But it is fun. It's fun to hang out and chat and to see other people on camera. So I'm not talking just to myself. And I love that you guys are so, interested in having these deep intellectual conversations on there because I crave that. I really do. It's hard to relate to people who don't understand you. I had a couple people, they're like, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, Like I have to assess a little bit more about you before I assess what kind of response you're going to get to that. If I really want a reaction out of people, I'll be like, I'm an exorcist. You should see people's faces when I tell them that I exorcise demons for a living. I've told people I'm a Ghostbuster. If I really don't want to talk about it, I'll tell them I'm in the energetic recycling business. I've told a few people that, and they're like, huh? I'm like, don't worry about it. It's just interesting stuff, The energetic recycling business. That's one of my favorite things to say. Well, you can also call me a trash collector then if you think about it. To take out the trash. So It's okay, Sarah. Sarah says at work makes it hard for me to do Astara live. You know, maybe I'll do it on the weekends sometime so that more people could join. I'm going to be doing a lot more classes coming up. I'm going to be doing a lot more one-on-one type of things. So I have a lot of catching up to do in that regard, but that is the plan, to be a bit more close-knit as a community. So that is the link if you guys would like to join us in a minute. I'm going to swap over to that in about a minute, so that way those of you who would like to ask questions and things, we can have a bit more of a private conversation, because I know a lot of you guys can't even like type on Facebook without some of your friends and family seeing your comments. And they do kind of get judgmental sometimes. Jessica said astral sanitation services. I'll just call myself a Ghostbuster. That's my favorite thing to call myself. A Beastie Buster. So yes, the Witch Wound class is coming. The Witch Wound class, that is the one thing I'm working on next. Although I think the next class is going to be with Kara, and we're going to do the Reiki 1. I think Reiki 1 is the next one scheduled. I'm going to be doing the Witch Wound class on March 21st. So for the spring equinox, we're going to do it. So that class will be on the equinox. So for those of you who are interested, I will have the sign-up links shortly for you guys. Are there recordings available on Astara if you can't make the live? Yes, I record all of our Monday conversations. So yeah, you can go on Astara and see the recordings from our Monday chats. Charisse posts them. Thank you so much for doing so. So if you guys just want to watch the recording of our private chats, you are welcome to. So anyway, I'm going to swap over to Astara. Tomorrow we have Uncle Ferris coming on to do some... No, not Uncle Ferris. He's Wednesday. We have Minty coming on the podcast tomorrow. I'm very excited to see Minty. And then on Wednesday, that's the day Uncle Ferris is coming on. Ferris is going to be doing some shamanic healing as always. And then on Thursday, we have the wonderful Casca Graham coming. I got to hang out with Casca. I'll share some pictures. I was going to share pictures with me and her this morning, but it wasn't working. So I'll have to fix that and figure out how to do that. So on Thursday, I'll just share some pictures, and Casca and I will talk a little bit about some of the future retreats that we are planning in South Africa. Casca has moved to this beautiful town. It's called Graaf Rennet. Probably not pronouncing that properly, and my apologies to my Afrikaans friends for butchering it. But Graaf Rennet is one of the most beautiful towns. It's like the South African Sedona. And you'll be able to see some of the pictures from it. It's just gorgeous. And I would love, love to bring some of you with me to that town to do a retreat with Casca. So that is the plan. We're going to do a retreat in the Kruger, and we're going to do a retreat down south as well. So there will be 2 retreats in South Africa next time I go back. So we'll talk about that more later, and on Thursday with Casca. And then Friday is Friday the 13th. Ooh. So that'll be interesting. So we'll have some more discussions about that on Friday. So I love you guys. I've really missed you. Thank you so much for joining me live today. I can't believe we had 170 people at peak today. That was amazing. So I'm just so grateful that all of you have joined me even after 3 weeks of being on hiatus. So just wanted to say I love you all very much. And I'm so excited to be back with you. And I look forward to catching up with you guys more. See you all soon. Mwah. Bye, everyone. Had a beautiful day.